about that. But
I was reading through this same story. It fascinated me. It's like,
yeah.
how can you survive? And
right. Yeah. Most likely, what was coming out wasn't brains. Okay. It was actually more likely CSF coming out in blood. So yeah.
I think I don't know. I haven't read the story, but it was very
right.
interesting.
Oh,
it's measuring it.
Yeah.
I was doing neurological exams on him.
Oh yeah. You know, they took him to the hospital. I mean, he had an accident or what happened? He blew a rod through his brain. You know. But yeah. But it took out the optic nerve on one side, so it disconnected his eye. So yeah. So it's crazy.
Then also, it seems like body holds that position.
I'm sorry?
Like his body holds the muscles are able to.
The eye?
Yeah.
Well, I think I would imagine it fell out.
But you're saying he went like this the rest of his life?
His eyelid was closed. I have no idea how or why. I'm talking about one photo. I've seen one photo of him. No, I don't know. It was 175 years ago. So, or 200, I don't know, a long time ago. So, but I'll try to find you something on Phineas. You know, it's crazy. The idea that all of this has to communicate. Every time you make a decision, every time you're remembering something, every time you're doing anything, it's just insane. You know, so here's the whole thing. Here's your parahippocampal gyrus. Here's the big cingulate gyrus. At this point, you should know that. Here's the insula sitting up here. The temporal pole over here. Coming back, there's, you know, all of this is olfactory through here. So there's a lot happening. The development and growth of the hippocampus is another one of those crazy developmental stories. The hippocampus is outrageous. It is so critical to all of your memory events. It starts out as this, you know, just long little structure. And look at this. It does exactly what your brain does growing. It folds twice. And by having the double folds, it's able to sit down on itself, and it allows for a tremendous amount of surface area and communication to happen, so that you can have signals and signals passing through that would normally have taken this route to get to the dentate, and they can just zip right on. So having this extrusion and double folding gave you so many more contacts and interactions. This baby. Yes, the fornix. So you already know you have a left cortex and a right cortex and a left cortex. Okay? What ties them together? What allows them to communicate? Corpus callosum. Okay? Now it turns out sitting kind of right below the corpus callosum, we have this wonderful structure, the fornix. By now, most of you know the relationship between the fornix and other words. It's related to the term fornicate. Why? How? Who remembers? The fornix is a bridge. It bridges the whole limbic system. The relationship to sex comes from the term bridge. Turns out in ancient Rome, the prostitutes worked under the bridges. Therefore, it became the term for fornicate. In this case, it's not. This is just the bridge. This ties together the front of the limbic system with the sides of the limbic system with the back of the limbic system. This ties the limbic system together. This allows all parts of your limbic system to know what's going on. We have the commissures. The commissures are essentially, I think I have a little slide. Fiber tracks that allow a group of fibers to travel together to a target. Between the rostrum of the corpus callosum, the columns of the fornix, hypothalamus. So, we've got the corpus callosum here, which ties together the left and right cortex. We've got the fornix, which ties together the whole limbic system. We've got the hypothalamus, which the fornix is projecting towards, because remember, the fornix terminates, more or less, at the mammillary bodies. We've got the fibers coming in from olfactory structures, posterior fibers, the temporal cortex. Everything comes in through the commissures into the fornix, which ties together the limbic system. So here's the mammillary bodies. Okay, what are they in? Hypothalamus. Okay, right. Yeah. If you had forgotten that one, I was going to get cranky. Okay. So we have the anterior commissures coming in here from the right side and the left side. We have the precommissural fornix here. We've got the postcommissural fornix here. So all of this is intimately tied together. It's like stitched in from the left, the right, the posterior, the anterior, the posterior. This is really an outrageously complicated structure, tying all of the limbic system together. All of this hippocampal commissure, these fibers guarantee that the left and right sides of the limbic system are in continuous communication. You don't want your left limbic system to be in control or your right limbic system to be in control. You want them to work together. Memory. What do you know about memory? Got great memory? No? Oh. Yeah, that's always fun and exciting. One of these years, if I do it right, I think I'm going to start every class I teach with this slide. Special senses. Hearing, smell, touch, pain, vision. We've got all these sensory modalities bringing signals into your brain. They're all bringing signals into slightly different parts of your brain. And as those signals come in, many of the signals are being bounced in part to your fornix. Your fornix. We bring in what you're looking at. You're looking at dinner. Okay? You've read about now, I'm starting to think about dinner. You look at something, you know, I like that. I like the colors, I like how it looks. It's a good looking burger. I like that slice of pizza, whatever. And then at the same time, you look at it, you're smelling it, you go, man, that smells good. I love the smell of baking cheese. It's just wow. And then you go to take a bite and the damn thing's too hot. You go, ah! And all of that combined together gives you a memory experience. It all contributes to how you remember what's going on In the future, you may look at that piece and go, whoa, wait a minute, I remember I burned my mouth the last time I ate that. I'm going to whale into that, however it works. You have 3 forms of memory. You must keep information in them an appropriate amount of time. Temporary storage. This is where everything is just entering the system. This is where you bring in the raw data. You take a bite to eat, your phone rings, you answer the phone, you're talking to somebody, you go back and say, I'm sorry, what was I eating? You've totally forgotten. You're watching something. I don't know, somebody knocks at your door. You put it down, you go, you're studying. Friend shows up, you start talking. You go, well, what are you getting ready for? I don't know, I'm studying. What is it? I don't know, it's for neuroanatomy. What's the topic? I don't remember what it is. You've distracted me. Ah. You then take that input that you have coming in, the raw data, and you transfer it to short-term memory. Once you transfer it to short-term memory, now you have the potential to retain the memory. This is where I can goof you up with drugs in general. It's the short-term memory step that we can screw up. You have to hold data in short-term memory for 5-10 minutes. I tell all my students, when you sit down to study, sit down for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. I don't want to hear that. No, I prepared for this exam. I had Friday night, 6 hours, and that's all I did was study. And I said, well, you got a good hour out of it, the last hour, because as you progress, if you do not hold the material long enough in short-term memory, and you keep bringing in new temporary information, you just write over this. It's just like me coming to the blackboard, erase and write, erase and write. No good. You have to hold it in short-term memory long enough. If you do, you'll transfer it to long-term memory. Long-term memory, by the way, is back in the cortex, for the most part. Probably actually involves prion molecules, which is really kind of wild. Now, as you store stuff in long-term memory, excitement, rehearsal, association. Let's start with association. It's easier for you to learn something new if you can associate it with something you already know. If you already have something similar stored in your memory. We want you to learn the color orange. You go, well, I've already got red up there. Orange is kind of like red. And it's easier. It's a dumb example, but it's easier. So, yeah. You're learning things about the cingulate gyrus. Okay. You already know the cingulate gyrus is a gyrus, so it's part of the cortex. You go, okay, I've got that down. Okay. Cingulate gyrus sits very close to the corpus callosum. Going, yeah, I've got that down. Which sits adjacent to and just superior to the fornix. You go, okay, now I'm starting to build this image. Rehearsal. Rehearsal is when you learn something and you reuse it. Those of you that play a musical instrument, you learned a piece and then you played it again. And then you practiced. And then you played it again. and then you practice, and you built up retrieval pathways.